going to do my review for the Super Mario Brothers movie that I saw yesterday, and I intend to see it again on Tuesday. Thank you all for being here, those who showed up first. Tonight, after my Mario review, I'm also going to give my final thoughts on the Joker sequel before it enters post-production. And I'm also going to do a Q&A and go back through your questions. And I've got 3 questions to start with. But if any of you have a question for me to answer, then tonight is the night. I will go through it. I will spend time on each and every one of your questions that you ask. And if you would like to add, as always, a super chat for this stream, I better make sure monetization is on and help support the channel. It always does help. Then that would be greatly appreciated. Let me just make sure that is on. So as you hear from my thumbnail, the critics hate Super Mario Brothers. They just absolutely despise this movie. They've been going after it and saying that it is a colossal disappointment. And I have some thoughts on that. So I went in with lowered expectations to the movie yesterday, but honestly, I have seen so many bad movies. Like I guess somebody wrote in the comments he expected me to be negative on the Super Mario Brothers movie. I suppose. Okay, here we go. Okay, monetization is now on. If you'd like to leave a super chat once again. But anyway, somebody expected me full on. To hate the movie. I guess maybe people expect me to hate Hello, Harley X Joker and Classic Harley. People expected me to hate this movie. I went to the Mario movie and I had a smile on my face the entire time. I laughed several times and I enjoyed myself more than any movie that I've seen in the theater in a very long time. Does that mean it is a good movie? No. And I've got to review this with 2 different hats. If I put on my critic hat, my movie critic hat, and I would say this is an objectively badly made film. So many obvious missteps in that. But as a fan of Mario, I was just so entertained. And I feel like it's also obvious in the film what the problems are and what the points of enjoyment are, that I feel like it's hard for me to review it without just sounding redundant of everyone else. But here's the thing. This movie was made in part by Nintendo, and they intended this film to be viewed by their fans. They made this film as if everybody has played Mario games and played multiple Mario games. So it is just filled. Their approach to this film was how many references and locations and character dynamics, things that all reference the games and are all direct adaptations from the games. How many of that can we fit in here? And so this is how the plot goes. Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom, which I don't even think they even name. He meets Toad. They immediately become best friends. No real introduction. Toad he immediately says that Luigi has fallen in a dark land. Toad immediately assesses that that is a dangerous place. Toad then says we have to go to the princess. Mario, not asking questions, is like, okay, let's go to the princess. They go to the princess, and the princess says, do this obstacle course. You're going to help me. And then Mario can't do the obstacle course, so they're like, okay, we're going to go to Donkey Kong Country. I know that sounds very fast. I know that sounds like me spitting it out, but that's how the movie plays. There are very few moments at all that slow down. There's pretty much no character development. There's like 2 points in the film that try to develop characters at all, or maybe 3 points, but they're fleeting compared to everything else. Like the characters are as flat and one-dimensional or non-dimensional as they are in the games, and you don't get any explanations for the lore behind this. They don't, in my opinion, they don't really integrate the power-ups well into this universe. So if you're a person who doesn't know anything about Mario, then you will be like, what am I watching? Like, what is this cat suit that Mario is wearing? What is this blue mushroom that makes people shrink? If you're a fan, you're going, oh, the blue mushroom, he ate it by accident and he doesn't know it's going to make him shrink. That is how your experience watching this film is different if you're a fan versus just a regular person. They did not make this with any intention of getting new people on board with Mario, except for perhaps very, very young kids. But the movie is incredibly fast paced. For a fan of the games, it is constantly giving you something to latch onto. I don't think this could last for multiple movies necessarily, but that is why I enjoyed it so much and why I wanted to see it again. I don't know how long it'll hold up on a second watch because, like I said, there's nothing there really. I don't, because the joy of watching it the first time is just seeing all those things and being able to enjoy the fight sequences and being able to invest in it as the characters get these powers that they don't really know but you know them. That's the joy of watching the movie or seeing Mario and Donkey Kong's rivalry and knowing where that comes from. Like that is what brings you joy as a fan from watching the film on a first watch. But because there's just no real character and there's no real story, it's not a movie that I think is very rewatchable unless you're a little kid who's just fascinated by all the action happening on the screen. I can imagine a very much younger version of me just loving this movie. Um, so that's why critics are absolutely hating it. But here's the problem. I keep hearing people say that they expected this movie to be like the Lego movie or like Wall-E or like any of the Disney, Pixar, Warner Brothers, or even Sony films, Spider-Verse, that really take a concept that might be shallow and deepen it and create a great development on it and go through the lore and make sure that this is accessible to the mainstream audience. Like the Sonic movies, not very well written. I would argue that objectively speaking, while the Sonic movies I don't think are entertaining as this from a fan's perspective, don't have nearly as much fan service, they are better written than Mario just because they do set up their own story and make it clear to everybody watching what that story is. And they do give their characters arcs. This movie doesn't really do that at all. So I want to get to what my real, so as a critic, I would just like say this is not a very good film. As a fan, I would say you must watch this if you're a Mario fan. But I think that at the same time, people put too much expectations on this film because it's like you're expecting it to be this like deep three-dimensional film, but there was nothing in the trailers or anything anywhere that implied that, other than you thought that it was going to be a good movie and so you compared it to these other great films that came out before and that you hoped it would be like. But it's like the trailer, if you've seen the trailers, then you know what the movie is. If you enjoyed one of the Mario trailers, then you will enjoy this movie, because what it is it's like the trailers. You see a bunch of stuff you recognize. There's a bunch of action, there's a bunch of characters, they're all in character, like Luigi's scared and all of that. But like this is an Illumination studio making a Mario movie. It was never going to be deeper. It could have been, but I don't think that they ever sold us on that, even though other people seem to be expecting that because that's the expectation that they all of a sudden put on it because the trailers look good. I did not mind Chris Pratt as Mario. When he first came on, I minded it, but then I quickly just accepted this is what his voice is, and it didn't bother me. I did not care for Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong or Jack Black as Bowser. Bowser, he is iffy to me because he's really, really silly in this movie, and I'm used to more of an angry, scary Bowser. Definitely a simp for Peach, which has been done in the games before. So I'm just so on that. The only part that I really did not like about the movie is that they really, really want to. I think this part came from the American studio Illumination. They really want to overcompensate for Peach being the damsel in distress and making sure that she's strong. Now, Peach has been a strong female character who does her own fighting and has had her own games for years. That's not my problem. And it's not my problem if she's a big fighter in this movie. And for most of the movie, I enjoyed it. But the problem is the movie never wants her to be the one in danger, even when the story calls for it. You're supposed to be building up Mario as the hero who has to save this new land. But at the end, this is a bit of a spoiler, there's Peach about to marry Bowser, forced to marry Bowser. This is the part with regular storytelling, you would have Mario swoop in and rescue Peach. But no, Peach rescues herself first, and then Mario comes in and joins in on the fight. And that's an example of it. Like I felt like Mario was almost sidelined in his own movie. Like he's an outside observer who happens to be helping out here. He's not the real hero of the story. And that's what frustrated me. It's like, why did we need to change that? You already have Peach as a strong character and as a fighter. So like there's nothing wrong with having a character like that, a female character in danger and needing to be rescued once. That doesn't mean you suck out all of her agency. That doesn't mean that she's always going to be the damsel in distress, but there's nothing wrong with doing it once. And I don't think that, I mean, Japan's still making games where Mario has to rescue Peach. So I think that Illumination was the one who stepped in and said, no, we have to make sure that Peach is the hero. So like, so for Mario, I would say if I was a critic, a professional movie critic, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I personally really enjoyed this film and I will watch it again. I have enjoyed it more than any film I've seen in the theater in a while, but I will not say that it is a well made film. I enjoyed it more than the Sonic movie, even though I think that the Sonic movies were better written. So that is my review for Mario. If you are a fan of Mario games, then go see it. If you have never played a game in your life from Mario, then avoid it at all costs because you will be completely lost. You will feel that it is a waste of time. So that is my review. So, oh my goodness. The chat is going by. I think someone asked me a question. Is Bowser any good? I already gave my review for him. I thought he was a little bit too on the silly side, but I laughed at some of his antics. So that's neither here nor there. They really leaned hard into the simp for Peach side of him in this movie, though. And it's like when talking about this movie, there's not really a lot. Like I say that Bowser is a simp for Peach, then you know his character really because this is how thin the movie is, and that sounds really harsh, but it doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable, but it's true. So this is going to be a shorter stream. So let's get to the next topic before we get to the Q&A part. So I wanted, unfortunately, I'm using Restream right now. And so I don't think I can get, let's see. I don't think that the Restream allows me to show other screens. Maybe it does. 1 second. Oh, yes, it does. Yes. Okay. I'm going to get the screenshots for you guys in a second here. I'm just pulling it up. We are going to talk about it. Somebody asked, do you think Batman will be in Joker 2? I don't think he's going to be it at all. Let's see. No, that's not it. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so now let's go to the share screen. Let's see. Why isn't this working? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to work this out. Okay, now I'm just showing myself. Come on. I apologize for the technical difficulties here. Stop screen sharing. Okay. Technical difficulties are abounding. I am sorry. I just want you to show the window. It was working the other day. It's not working. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my share screen on. Okay, I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to do the share screen because it's not working for some reason. So next topic is the Joker 2 review. Not the review. The speculation. So as was reported a long time ago, filming was supposed to wrap on the 5th. And the reason why, thank you for bringing that up, Classic Harley. Thank you, Gaga TV. Hello. The reason why it is being released so late is because they want this to, number one, have the release day of the first film and be able to play and be marketed the same way in the same release slot because that did really well. And I don't think that this movie could be done in time for this October. They also have Dune Part 2 to market this fall. But the big reason why they're doing it next October is because they want it to be an awards film. And typically awards films come out in the fall because that is when you're closer to Oscars and when you can have them play at certain festivals. And that's why they're doing it in this way, which might be a benefit to us because this gives them a lot of time to hash out what they want this film to be, to do reshoots if they want to. You know, we keep complaining about movies that are just rushed, but then this one has a lot of time to just nail it and to sit on the film if they need to, so they're not rushing anything. It's not a last minute thing like Thor 4. So we got so much from the pictures and stuff. For a while, this movie has actually been shooting since early December. Most of it is said to take place indoors and take place in Arkham Asylum. The very little bits that they had to shoot outside seem to be taking place They filmed them all closer to the end. They just consolidated all of that. We got a little bit of Joaquin Phoenix back in February where he's running from his two supporters, and then we got some of the court scene, and then we got the scene on the steps. Now, the scene on the steps is what is not really like, those pictures went really viral, but few people like me really read into them and saw what was actually going on. Now, some of the pictures were high quality released, especially the ones of Lady Gaga at the courthouse. Um, uh, because when they do that, that means that they want you to see these pictures. That is free marketing for them. Whenever you see high quality pictures, quote unquote, set leaks come out. When they give you high quality set leaks, that means they want you to see this. Or in general, set leaks are used to market a film because they want to get people talking about them. So we wouldn't be seeing these unless they wanted us to see them. They let people, I think they even sold tickets to let people watch the filming. They let people watch a lot of this filming. So, as you know, like the last scene is what's concerning me. The last scene we saw shot. We don't know if it's the last scene of the movie. Some people think that it is, and I'll explain why. So there's a final scene where Joker, after we've seen him like disheveled, it might be right after there's been a fire at Arkham and he escaped. He's disheveled. He's by himself. He eventually. He eventually goes to the old steps. I don't know if he was called there or if he found it there, but he finds Harley there in who's officially Harleen. That is how Lady Gaga signed off. He finds her there, and she's in like her own version of the Joker clothes. They have a conversation, and there's been different versions of this conversation filmed. I've seen at least two of them. The first one is where they seem to be angry at each other, or he gets angry at her, and I did the video on it where he's like shaking her. And but I saw more of that context. So like I thought, oh, are they doing the abusive direction? But in this version that I saw, she actually talks back to him and like brushes him off and then just gives him a glare. Then she goes into this song, and somebody leaked out the lyrics of the song. It's a reworked version of Judy Garland's That's Entertainment. And the lyrics are I played the charade that was lighter than air, a good old fashioned affair, and then this goodbye brings a tear to the eye. So it's saying goodbye. It's saying that this is a finale. So that's why people think that this might be the ending of the film. That would be very, very odd to me if they leaked out the ending of the film like this. And on purpose. I mean, it has happened before with the Batman. We got set leaks of him and Catwoman driving off together, and that turned out to be the ending of the film. But that isn't something that when it leaks out, it tells you the entire film, because Batman could be driving around with Catwoman at any point in the film. This one seems to tell you the ending of the film if it is, unless they're misdirecting us, because it seemed in this first one that Harley is very angry at Joker and spiteful, and she's really like turning him around. And by her saying that this is a charade, and then saying this is a good old fashioned affair right after that line, it made me think, okay, did she like pretend to be on his side this entire time, pretend to have an affair with him just to get him to this level? And that makes no sense to me, because we have to remember that the first Joker was dealing with mental illness. That was the entire theme. And this Joker, he's just a mentally ill person. He's not a criminal mastermind. So I'm like, what gain would she have by manipulating him in that way the entire film? So, but then like she seems very spiteful, and in the first one, she's like she sort of like leads the cops to him. But then we got a different version of the scene where there is not fighting between the two, where the Joker actually kisses her on the forehead, and then she instead of being angry, she kind of seems in a daze, and she pushes him off, and he seems very heartbroken, and then she goes into her song and dance. But then there's another scene that I came across today where like there's some scenes where the Joker seems like he tries to he's confused by the cops coming. There's another scene where it seems like he's just given up. And there's another scene where I saw today where he actually tries to climb away. So, sorry, excuse me. So I don't know what's happening. What I do know is the way they filmed the first film is that they would just give Joaquin Phoenix freedom to play the same scene as many ways as he wanted to. And so that's what it seems to be doing here. So the one thing I'm concerned about is, number one, is this the ending of the film that they just spoiled? Because it seems to be the main thing, and they shot it. They didn't take a day to do this. They took 3 days to shoot this scene in different ways. But I'm wondering, is this the end that Harley gives him up for whatever reason, becomes hateful to him, or always was? If that's so, then why is she in this clown garb, and why she seems to be a pretty mentally deranged person? Like, why are the cops completely ignoring her? And in some scenes, she just kind of goes off to the side. She either smiles wickedly at the Joker, or another scene she doesn't really pay attention. In another scene, she walks away along with the cops and Joker, but not arrested. So there's so much here that we don't know yet. But I know I'm talking a little bit longer about this one, but here's my concern. And my first concern is that good old Grace Randolph, who spread those rumors about Logan Lerman being Superman, which were untrue, but she has been right in the past, and she said that by the ending of the film that she heard, this would be a movie exploring feminism, and that is what really worries me, because that is what has really messed Harley up in recent days. And I'm worried, is this going to be yet another film that just does the feminist take on Harley, which I don't know, because I have to go back on my original video. I don't know if the Joker is going to be abusive in this version. Is this version where she's just sort of using him for her own gain, and that's supposed to, like, when he didn't do anything to her, and that's supposed to be feminist? That's what worries me about the film. But and it's very important to me, because people don't seem to understand, even though that this movie is in Elseworlds, it will affect other things. The first Joker movie did, in fact, affect his character, not in a major way. They didn't change the Joker in the comics to be Arthur Fleck, but what they did do is I started seeing more emotional takes on the Joker, more victimizing takes on him after the Joker movie came out. Before that, everything was kind of more like Heath Ledger, like he's just the walking Holocaust. So this movie will influence the character, not in the way that I think Harley's going to become super serious and realistic everywhere else, but say this is a movie that does more of a Bonnie and Clyde, Sid and Nancy, Mickey and Mallory thing with Joker and Harley, then I think you would probably start seeing those characters do more stuff in the comics, in mainstream comics again. Fun fact, the reason why they were separating the comics in the first place was because the original Suicide Squad was David Ayer was going to do that in the original cut before they did reshoots. So this movie I was hoping would bring things back. But I am not sure, like, is this going to be another feminist take? Then that would just further solidify Harley in this pathway. That is why I'm so invested in it. And I know that people have been frustrated me on my channel for talking about it so much, for the community posts and for the videos about it. My videos did relatively well for my channel, though. But that is why I'm so invested. This is almost my make and break movie. Like, how is this going to influence how Harley was portrayed? She was so changed by the DCEU movies. How is she going to change again? At the very least, whatever is in this movie, at least it won't be girl Deadpool. And so Classic Harley Quinn says, Grace chats crap most of the time. Do not worry, Todd has done anything like that as far as I know. Yeah, that's true. And by the way, as for Grace, she admitted she only knows bits and pieces of the film, and she's just heard some things about the ending that made it sound feminist and what you call it, and that she's worried about how people are going to respond to that. But we will see. Like, I remember that people were trying to make a big deal about the first film, saying that it's going to be a Trump movie, like, and then it wasn't that at all. So we'll see. Harley X Joker says, worst case scenario, Harley was using Joker to rise in power, then turned him to take over. That would still make me question. Like, why would the cops ignore her? She's clearly insane. Like, I just don't know. But once again, that is why it is good that we have 18 months in between the movie wrapping filming and the movie actually coming out. And we don't know what the context will be, if things will be reshot, if things will be recontextualized. So that is why it is actually good that we have 18 months. So, so I want you guys, who are here, to leave your questions. If you have any questions about Mario or what I've just talked about the movie, I do have some pre-written questions out here I have to get. Let me pull them up. And because we're moving on into the Q&A section of the stream. Let's see. Okay. The first question, do you think Joker 2 will get ruined by all the hate it's gotten from Harlivy / Margot stands and people who hate Gaga for some reason? Now, I've barely seen any quote unquote Harlivy people out there, and I think it's just kind of showed me how small that fan base is and how small that show is compared to when you have a movie coming out. I haven't seen anybody really talk about them. Just a little bit at the beginning when the discussion for this new movie wasn't so vast. I think they got a little bit of a word in edgewise, but I haven't seen anything from them recently. Margot stands, if there were enough of those, then they would have made the Birds of Prey movie successful. And here's the thing about that is that this movie does have a considerable amount of hype around it. Most people do not know the leaks as I've been reading about them. Uh, but it does have a considerable amount of hype around it, as least as far as the internet is concerned. And I'm not, and that's what concerns me as well. I'm like, is this going to be a successful movie that goes the wrong pathway again? But like, I don't really see that much from Margot stands. They mainly are just criticizing Gaga for her looks. And look, my Harley I think is pretty cute. Harley should be cute, but this is a movie that is doing a different version. It's one that I hope is a good version. But when I see that, the picture that was released by Todd Phillips yesterday, and Harleen looked pretty ugly, I'm like, well, not that Lady Gaga is ugly, just that she had makeup all over her face and a lot of shadow, and she looked really sinister. Like, that's what the movie's going for. I think it's a lot of noise. Like, Lady Gaga at base she has haters, and she has a much bigger fan base than Margot Robbie. And I hope that I don't feel any negativity towards this portrayal of the character as we find out more about it. So let's go to the next question. I'll do Harley X Joker first so I don't lose it. How do you think Clayface will work in the Batman 2? Now, here's what I'm worried about when it comes to that. When I first heard that Clayface was pretty much, we think, is going to be the villain of the Batman 2, I thought, oh, we're finally going to get like face molding, big pile of mud Clayface, like the Batman the Animated Series and most version of Clayface. Then people started suggesting that they might be doing the first version of Clayface, which was merely a guy who put on masks in the golden age of comics. And that is something that I could see them doing in the Batman, because they are still holding on to the realistic Nolan take. And I would be so disappointed if they did that. I hope that they do classic Clayface, and I hope that Clayface, I hope that the Batman universe, I hope that it lets go of being like Nolan, and that it makes itself get into the more fantastical elements of comic books, because we need to break away from every Batman movie needs to be realistic. We need to stop doing that because it's really limiting us. Okay, next question. Next question. Let me see. From Classic Harley Quinn, have you watched Prison Break? And if so, what do you think of it? I have not watched it. Let me look up what it is. Prison Break. Is this a TV series from 2005 to 2017? I have not. I'm not familiar with these actors. To be honest, no, I haven't. And also, I actually, sorry, I should have brought some water for myself. Admittedly, I do not watch a lot of TV. I am a movie person. I will get stuck on certain shows or certain cartoons, but it's a lot harder to get me. It's a lot harder to get me into streaming shows than it is for movies, and that's why it's like when I get invested into a TV show, I will really get invested. But usually I will watch a lot of movies and will take a chance on a lot of movies, but it's a lot harder to get me to watch a TV show. So that is my answer to that. So you normally go live Thursday nights. What's your streaming schedule? Jester Feathers. Thank you. So so my streaming schedule is a little all over the place. For a time, I was trying to do it every Saturday. Sorry, I am not doing well in this stream because I keep coughing. So I was trying to do it every other Saturday, but sometimes I wouldn't have a topic, and sometimes I would find out I would do a really bad stream if I was forcing myself to do a topic. And then, sometimes I have my friend Jacob on here, who was a co-host with me, or some other friends. And, tonight I'm going to have some friends over tomorrow for Easter. And so tonight was the only night I could do it. And I just thought, I have so much I want to say. The Super Mario review for the Joker 2. I love doing Q&As. So that's why I did it tonight, because I was too tired yesterday, consolidated tonight. So I don't know if I'll start getting more people, then I'll start being more consistent with it. I usually do it Saturday night. Doing it on Thursday is a little bit random, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it weekly. But we will see. We will see. So I don't want to lose this. Possibility of a Robin actor. I don't know, but I will be over the moon if we get Robin in the Batman 2, Dick Grayson. I'm so mad at what James Gunn did with announcing a Batman and Robin movie with Damian Wayne skipping over all the other Robins, sort of undercutting the Reeves verse. I would be over the moon if we got an actor, and I don't care who it is, just any actor, meaning that Dick Grayson is going to be in the Reeves verse. So let me get back to my pre-written questions over here. Thoughts on Blue Beetle? This is a good question. I'm sorry. Okay, I saw Blue Beetle trailer and I said that's great. And then my brother runs in and says that looks terrible. And then everyone else was saying that looks terrible. And I was thinking, I actually nodded off kind of while I was watching it, even though I said that looks great. Listen, I love the actor. It's the lead actor from Cobra Kai coming in. I thought some of the action looked good. I think we are just out of the era where like anything superhero excites people. And I kind of feel that way about it, where like, did we really need Blue Beetle? I don't really care about that character. There's nothing that really excites me. There's not anything bigger it leads into. Don't really care about the character that much. And unfortunately, it was an HBO Max movie first. So all the people saying it looks like a CW show, well, it's a TV movie put to theater. So I'm like, I don't have any investment in it. With the way I've been going to the theater this year, I'll probably watch it in the theater, but I don't have an investment in it. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. I don't think it's going to do well at the box office. So I don't think he's going to appear in anything else, which is a shame because the actor is very good. So that is my thoughts on the Blue Beetle trailer. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. It's not going to matter until we get to the Superman movie, the Joker sequel, and the Batman movie. So, any other questions for me before we sign off? This usually go 30 minutes on my stream, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Any other questions for me before we sign off? We could talk about Mario, could talk about the Batman, could talk about the Joker sequel, any of that stuff. I got a bunch of backlash for the Batman line. So much so the director responded, "What Batman line did you use?" Then WB Bosch apparently told the director to shut up, basically. I think it'll be a massive flop. Like, so you have to rewrite it because I don't understand what's happening. What about Secret Invasion? Oh my goodness. I watched half of the trailer and I gave up. And under normal circumstances, like, it was a very cliched trailer. Listen, Marvel has burned me. I just held on to them. And I've been just burned. It's like I said in my stream with Jacob, if you watched that, I've just been burned by so many movies and so many things that now that Marvel has gone down in the last year, gone down so hard the last 2 years, it's like I don't want to be holding on to this stuff and just keep getting disappointed. Like Secret Invasion, you're gonna have to get like people giving an incredible word of mouth to get me to even watch it, because I'm just at a point where I don't care anymore. This is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I loved in the first place. That's not what it is, and that's why it's hard to get me to care about like Secret Invasion or anything else that they're doing. I need it to change, and I need it to court me again. I can't just be holding on to these things. Unfortunately, I think I'm always going to hold on to Harley because I'm a bit too invested in her. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Secret Invasion. Like, I feel like it's going to be another Marvel thing that Disney Plus uh, um, butchers. In the Blue Beetle trailer, one of the characters called Batman a fascist. That line got told to backlash. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I was kind of just apathetic about it. It's like I don't think that many people cared about Blue Beetle in the first place. I know it was a joke. I think that is still a bad idea to call the one character you can bank on a fascist. You shouldn't do that. But yeah, I would have to really care about Blue Beetle and what was going on with DC. It was just a bit tone deaf, in my opinion. You don't want to say anything bad about the character that everyone loves right now. Okay, last call for questions. Last 8 people that are here. We're going on 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Going once, going twice. Okay, I think we are done. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. What did you think of the Mario movie? Are you going to see it? Are you excited for Joker 2? Or are you apprehensive about it? Let me know in the comments below if you are watching this on a restream. And